What's up, everyone? All right, well, here we are Tuesday morning and a surprisingly big green day. 3 times the daily goal, almost 4 times the daily goal. I was not expecting that. I sat down, first trade of the day, in the red, but not big, went down $400. Rallied back on the second trade of the day, got myself to up about 200. No, maybe a little higher than that. Anyways, I'll go over it in the recap. But a little choppy to start the morning, built my cushion up slowly, and then we had a big short squeeze. And it was pretty epic. It could have been better. It wasn't the biggest one by any means that we've ever seen, but it was pretty awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. I want to remind you, as always, my results are not typical. Make sure you take it slow because there's no guarantee that you'll find success, whether you try on your own or you learn from me. So take it slow. Don't blindly follow, and practice as simulator before you put real money on the line. I hope you guys enjoy the recap. I hope you hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you first thing tomorrow morning for the morning show. All right, everyone, so I'm gonna break down the trades from this morning, finishing the day in the green, $18,601.81. Let's not forget about the 81 cents. I'm kind of impressed. I was not expecting this type of green day. And actually, I sat down today and my first trade of the day was a loser. So I went into the red before rallying back into the green, but not by a lot. I went down $400 on the first trade. So let's go back to the first trade. First trade of the day was on MGAM. So when I sat down this morning at about 8 a.m., I was looking at the top gap scanner, as always. I mean, that's how I always start my day. I'm looking at the top gappers. And I mean, for what's worth, I roll over in bed early and I just open the scans on my phone and just take a peek at what the top gappers are. So, you know, you could see right there. So I don't know if that's in focus, but I pull up my phone, I take a look at the scans, and I'm just, you know, I usually do that like around 7:30. This was 7:39 that I did it. And I was just like, well, let's just see, you know, is there a leading gapper this morning? Is it up a lot? And I saw MGAM and I was like, oh, all right. You know, I know that stock. It's, you know, it's not my favorite, so I don't know. Well, we'll see. So I will do a little research, and then that tells me whether or not I need to sprint to my computer station, my trading station, or if I can kind of take my time picking out my favorite tie-dye shirt and this and that. So anyways, I meandered over, not too fast, but not too slow. You know, got here a little before 8 and was looking at MGAM, and I thought, okay, so I see this move that we had popping back over the VWAP at like 340. Pops up to a high of 403, it pulls back, it breaks that level. So at 7:55 or 8 a.m. when I sat down, it was already starting to pull back. And it was the leading gapper at the time, so it made sense to be watching it, but it had no news. There was no news on it. And I thought, oh, that's a little weird. And just for reference, this one on the daily, I traded it when it squeezed up on the IPO. We got some nice trades on it, but you know, since then it's pulled back, and the dead cat bounce hasn't been working super well. So I just was a little cautious on it. But my first trade, I pulled the trigger at about 10 past 8. And so let's see, that was right here on this candle. And I got in as it broke over 419 right there. I added at 420. It hit a high of 427, dropped down here, and I stopped out for a $400 loss on the first trade. It didn't hold that level. It didn't continue. It dropped back down. So that was a little disappointing, but you know, so that was my first trade. And then after that, we had INAB on the scanners. So INAB was on the scans, a nice move this morning at the open. And I saw it squeezing up right here. And we had a micro pullback right here. And I bought that micro pullback. And we ended up getting a move from 260 up to a high of 282. And so I made $747 on that trade, and minus the 400 I was down on MGAM, it put me up about 300 on the day. I then went back to MGAM and took another trade on it. And this was a trade where I bought it coming in towards 8:30. So it was right, let's see. Sorry, it was actually right here. I tried to buy this double bottom right in this area, and it went lower and I lost another $200 on it. So I went to down about 600 on MGAM, which put me up only 200 on the day at that point. So I was like, all right, well, I've got a little profit on INAB, but I'm red on MGAM. I'm only up about 200 on the day. So I don't really know. Now, one of the things, of course, I'm always doing is I'm watching the chat room carefully. And in the Warrior small cap room for Warrior Pro members, I could see traders who have badges. So Danny's got a 100K badge. And I saw earlier SJ, who's got $1 million badge. And he's been a member for years, a long time. So I saw him post that he was watching Blackberry. Sorry, I say Blackberry, but Bed Bath & Beyond, BBBY, on the break of this ascending wedge, and he bought it at $15.10. So I pulled up the chart, I looked at it, and I liked the setup. I was like, you know what? It looks good. It looks especially good over $15.19 for a retest of the pre-market high of $15.50. And so I went ahead and bought it. I took a starter of 2,000 shares at $15.13, and then I added at $15.23, $15.30, and $15.35. Scaled up to actually 10,000 shares on this one, which was one of my biggest positions on the day. But of course, I started with just 2,000 shares. So I started with 2,000 shares at 13, and by the time I was scaling in, I already had a profit cushion. So set my stop, more or less mental stop, pre-market of course, no live stops, but set my mental stop to break even with 10,000 shares. It goes up to 40. Wasn't able to hold that level. It dips back down here to 22 and then pops back up to 34. Ends up being a false breakout, and I took my profit on it. So I made about 10 cents a share, 10,000 shares. So not really a home run, but that put me nicely in the green on the day, about $1,200 of profit. Then I switched back to MGAM, which set up a break back over VWAP. And I took this trade, I took two trades on it. One, I took the trade at 4 for the break back over VWAP, made a couple hundred on that. And then I took another trade right here over 408, 410, first candle to make a new high. And we got a trade here up towards 420. So I actually ended up being up about $250 on MGAM and then gave back a little bit. I think it might have been right around here. So I'm up only $40 on it. Okay. So that was that. And then some traders posted news on, well, I'd say news, but they posted on FAZE. So Jorge, he's got a 500K badge. He posted that FAZE was on watch over 19, that there was, it was being circulated that it was #1 on Fintel for short squeeze potential, being like 99% of the float short and having the cost to borrow at like 670% or something like that. So I pulled up the chart, and that was fairly early. It was when it was right around 19 here, and I was like, okay. Oh no, sorry, it was around when it was 18 right here. It was 1790 on the ask and 1750 on the bid. And I thought, okay, it's interesting. It is a recent IPO, so I like the daily setup there. Blue sky above 21.99. That's got some potential. The short interest, that's certainly interesting. So I said it's kind of a wild card stock. If it goes, it could be a big move, but also carries more risk, lighter volume, bigger spreads. Not sure it's going to work. So so let's see. Let's back up here. Where was this? So that was yesterday. Okay, so right here on this candle, so I had the level 2 up, and someone said, watch FAZE, the spread is tightening. So initially the spread was like 1750 by 18, and then the spread tightened up a little bit. It was 1770 by 1790 or whatever it was. And then there was some green prints on the ask, and it starts to open up. So on that one, not surprising, on my first order, I filled 650 shares only. I only filled 650 shares. So I filled 650 shares, and I'm in. It pops up right on this candle to 19, and I added at 1850, and then we got a pop here right through there up to a high of 1968. The problem was I couldn't fill any big orders on it. I was getting partial fills, smaller orders. I have one order here that was 127 shares. Another one that was, let's see, 1,124 shares. So partial fills, 944 shares. These just sort of weird fills. And so I was like, all right, well, I don't think I'm going to be able to make a lot on it, but I can make a little on it. So I traded it through this move up, 1968, with small size. And at this point here, I think it was $700 or so on my first trade. Maybe it was 1,000. Kept trading it in this area. What I was interested in is the fact that because the availability of shares to borrow was very limited, the dips I didn't think would get hit by short sellers hitting the bid. So I thought dips here are just profit taking from a long. I'm going to buy that dip. And so I got some really nice dip trades on this. The low of this candle is 1884. The high is 1935, right? So that's a 50-cent candle. The low of this candle, 1890. The high is 1928, another 40-cent candle. So I was buying dips. Now, granted, I wasn't getting good fills, maybe 500 shares, 250 shares, 1,000 shares here and there, but they were adding up. We ended up having a false breakout here at 1955, which was kind of a bummer. I did add on this for the breakthrough 1950, which at that time, I was like, this 5-minute chart is pretty clean. We just have 3 big green candles. We did have a MACD crossover, which I was a little bit worried about, but I took this trade. It hit 1955, it flushes down, end up stopping out, I think break even on it, maybe a small winner. And that, ironically, was my biggest position of the day. Of course, at that time, the volume was higher and the liquidity was improving, so I was able to fill a little bit better. But in any case, it didn't end up being a great trade. So I was up about 3,000 on the day, something like that, around this spot here. 3,000, sorry, on FAZE. So I was up 5,000 on the day. I had just broken over my daily goal, and it drops here down to the 20 moving average. If you recall, I got a dip trade literally at 18.99. So what I actually did on this one is I put orders on the bid. I put an order on the bid at 18.99. I put another order on the bid at 18.89. The order at 18.89, that one didn't fill, but the order at 18.99, I did get a partial fill on it. So let's see, that was at, was this 913? So yeah, so you'll see right here. So I only filled 250 shares at 18.99, which is a bummer, you know, but it's just the way it goes. So I filled 250 shares, and then what I said was, okay, this thing is holding up here. It came up to 1925, came back to 28, and you know, once again, I don't know if it was SJ or if it was Jorge. One of them said, I'm watching this over 1928. And I said, yeah, I see that level. It's so nice when you're trading with other traders who see the same levels that you see, and look at the market through the same lens that you're looking at it through. And so as it broke 1928, I bought 1,000 shares. And son of a gun, the short squeeze began, and this thing squeezed to 20, to 21, to 22, all the way up to $24.46. I didn't see that coming. I mean, I knew it had the short squeeze potential, but I just didn't think that was going to happen, that big of a candle. I thought maybe we get back to 1968, maybe we get to $20. And we just got this really epic squeeze here, which was phenomenal. And that put it up 88, almost 100% on the day. Then it pulls back. At the open, it dips, it comes back up, hits a new high at 24.69, sells off to the VWAP, and I did try to take a trade on it right here for the break over 22. I lost on it, ended up being a bear flag. And then I tried another trade right here for the second attempt over 21, a small winner, but it rejects. So I was up about 19,000 high on the day, gave back a little off the top, but that's okay. You know, I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get this really epic squeeze. You know, given the fact that it was #1 short interest. I mean, again, based on Fintel, and I don't subscribe to it, but people were talking about it. And usually, I mean, I don't really feel like it's necessary to subscribe to it, because for what it's worth, when something is #1 and it's like really kind of got all the criteria, it gets posted everywhere and everyone knows about it. They're one of the companies that was providing a lot of short interest information on GameStop. So following that, I think they got a lot of, you know, they got a pretty good following. So people do respect, you know, when they have stocks that are top on their list and that, you know, look pretty good and meet criteria. So anyways, we did get a nice move there, but then it sold off, you know, and hasn't held up super well. So anyways, I ended up making about 10,000 or a little bit more, 13,000 on that move right there. And Jorge, he posted his P&L over $40,000 of profit. Phenomenal. I mean, I was really impressed. So he crushed it on that squeeze. And you know, it's always nice to see that. So really happy to see that. A bunch of traders said that this was one of the best days of the week, or sorry, one of the best days of the year for them. One of the, you know, top days of the year. But there were also some traders who said, "You've got to be kidding me. I can't believe I'm red on this." And listen, I'm telling you, I know how that feels, because I have been that person. I have been the person who's red on a stock that's up 80, 100%. It is not impossible. So what I say is, you know, and this is what I said earlier. I said, let's do the recap on it and let's go over the trades. And what I would encourage you to do is to compare and contrast your own trades to the places that I was trading it. Not that, you know, I'm like, I mean, I'm sure you could compare to Jorge also. He traded it better than I did. But, you know, I'm here putting my trades out. So just look at the chart and ask yourself, where did I trade it? So let's say, for instance, you woke up late, you missed this whole move, and your first trade was right here, right? So, you know, that obviously trading the opening range, it's going to be riskier. But for the most part, although we had this trap at 1950 and then we dropped down to 1899, you know, that could have been certainly possible to lose on that. Getting back in down here, that shouldn't have been a loser, but you did have a topping tail candle there. You did have a little bit of a topping tail here at 22.71. It drops back down $1 a share, then it rips back up. So I know it's possible to lose on these when they're volatile, and especially in this area, which is why one of the things I said is, okay, now that we've got this red candle at the open and it didn't rip through 24, 25, and 26 and higher, now I feel like we might be on the backside of the move. I'm trading with smaller size until it gets back through 24.50. And so I stuck with that. But sometimes a trader who maybe has a little FOMO from missing the earlier move does the exact opposite. They either missed the move because they didn't get fills on their orders, or they were whatever, sleeping late, whatever it is, and then they try to overcompensate with aggressive trades in this area. And this is not the cleanest area. This is on the backside of the move. It's on the backside of the move. Unless the stock can prove it can reclaim that level. It doesn't mean there's not volatility in this area. You can still potentially trade it if you're willing to, but it's much better to trade those areas when you have a cushion. So that was my morning. PXMD, this one, I saw a couple traders took some good losses on it. Disappointing. Squeezes up, halts, opens, continues higher, and then look at this. First candle to make a new high right there. Breaks 5, hits 518, and then just liquidation, flushes, stops, fire, and it drops into a halt going down. That was a bummer. So I saw that knocked out some traders. Ugly false breakout. Blue Apron, I see SJ just posting he's up 43% on his calls. So very nice daily setup there. Good job, good call on that one. His calls, he's up 43% on his options trade, which would be a call. So very nice. Blue Apron it's a little bit of a trickier one. Options are nice for a bit more of a long day trade or even a swing trade. You can kind of set it, let it work, forget it. You can risk basically 50% or whatever of what you put on the contract. And if you end up losing on it, that's your stop. If it ends up going up for a couple days, it goes up to 8 or 9, you can end up getting 100, 200%. It definitely takes a little bit of a different skill set to start getting into day trading and swing trading options, but nice on that. So yeah, I see some potential there. So that one's moving higher. Let's see, we've got top gainers today. MGAM, INAB, FRGE, right? So FRGE, this was another one that was popping up earlier. Golly, so you got to squeeze up from 380 up to 5, and then a drop back down into a halt, opens way low, pops up, halts up, rallies back up, comes all the way back to the high. But it would have been very easy to take, a big loss on this. If you had bought at 450, added at 5 going into what you thought was a halt, and then all of a sudden it flushes down and halts down. Now you're down $1.50 a share, $2 a share potentially. I mean, it's just, so this was definitely a day to exercise some caution. I didn't expect to have a green day today. I really didn't. I started in the red. I traded, kind of cautiously initially, especially on FAZE. I had about $1,000 of profit on the day before my first trades on it, and or maybe 1,700 because I've gotten back some of the losses on MGAM. And then started small, and then all of a sudden it started to give us some more opportunities. And next thing you know, we were getting a $2, $3, $4, $5 a share squeeze just about. So that's a wild card stock. That's the potential of a stock that does have that higher level of short interest, is that you are going to have some short covering momentum. So that was nice to see. I wish it was a little more sustained. It would have been awesome if we had gotten a move up to 30. That could have made this the best day of the month for me, but didn't happen. So that's all right. Overall market is down, and I'm grateful to be green. We're still in this pullback here right now. So I have definitely been interested to see how the market reacts around the S&P around 400. We did break below it. We're kind of, still below it. We broke well below it here on this sell-off. Not a lot of support at the 400 mark. So I don't know. The next leg down would be down towards 389. And then you've got back down towards 381, and then you've got back down towards 370, and then the low down there at 362. But we will probably have some ascending support at some of these levels. Although, as you probably understand, fundamentals do make a bigger difference. Depending on how you draw that candle, you might even find a little ascending support here. Not sure. I don't usually draw a trend line to the bottom of a close. Usually I draw it to the actual bottom of the candle, but you can see how that does make a difference there, right? Bottom of the candle, bottom of the candle body versus that, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll leave it there for now. So we've got a little bit of a rocky road still ahead. in the overall market, but as day traders, our job is just to look for volatility, look for opportunity, try to lock up some gains along the way if we can, and do everything possible to manage risk. Tomorrow's the last day of the month. It's been a great month for me, unexpected, really unexpected, but it's been a good month. So I'm gonna sit down tomorrow, try to finish up the month with a couple more green trades if I can. This has been my month of August. Green yesterday, Monday, green today, Tuesday. Only got one day left. So try to lock it up green tomorrow, and then Thursday, Friday going into September. Wow, can't believe it. It's really pretty wild. So school's right around the corner. A lot of folks are probably gonna be traveling this week and into next week, getting settled, getting back into a school routine for folks that have kids. But I'll be here for you. I'll be here every morning doing my routine, doing my trading, and looking for opportunities. So thanks for everyone that's tuned in. By the way, we have another podcast that's going to come out tomorrow. So if you're not already following the podcast, you should check that out. Tomorrow's podcast will be an interview with a millionaire trader. So I think that'll be the first millionaire trader interview we've put on the podcast. So that'll be coming out tomorrow. And I think you guys will look forward to it. Enjoy it. Okay, so that's it for me. Good luck if you keep trading today. I'm going to shut it down. I have no interest in overstaying my welcome. I am grateful to be green. $18,600. $1.81. These types of days for me are huge. They help build the cushion. There will be slow days ahead. I know that, right? That's part of trading. There's ups and there's downs. So when I'm on and up, these days are going to have to tide me over when it gets slow. So if we end up having a slow stretch, whenever it is, there'll be another slow stretch. So whenever it comes, I want to try to be mindful of the fact that, hey, Ross, you had a really nice stretch there from July into August. It's okay to sit on your hands and maybe not trade on a day where the leading gapper is only 13% or something like that. If we don't have any good leading gappers, if there's nothing moving, then I have to remind myself that I have the cushion where I don't have to take the risk. You think about, I'm gonna throw you a little story here. You think about these guys who are out fishing, and I'm thinking of, of course, I suppose you could think of any type of fishing, but let's say you're fishing and you've got a quota to catch, right? So you've got a quota to catch. The guys who, and everyone has different strategies. Some are going to go a little Hail Mary, try to, get it all real quick and do some risky stuff. Others are going to just grind on lower numbers, just try to get it done, not trying to be a hero. But you get those people that are a little bit behind the ball. They're running behind on their deadline, and some desperation starts to set in. So all of a sudden you've got really stormy weather, and the people who are really in the driver's seat because, for whatever reason, maybe it's luck, maybe it's a little skill, they are further ahead on their quota. They might say, oh, I'm not going to go out in this big storm. I'm not going to risk it. I don't need to risk it. But it's the folks that, are struggling, pulling up the, from behind, that are going to go out there, and then they're going to expose themselves to more risk. They can end up getting hurt. They can end up having something bad happen. And, I think about that with trading. Like, the traders sometimes who trade all day long can be the ones who are in the red, trying to desperately fight back to get green. Sometimes the ones who are trading on really choppy days are the ones who are just generally red and are just not willing to take the day off. So trying to get yourself in the mindset of how would a very successful trader be thinking about today. Is this a day where they would say, oh, I've got a cushion, I don't need to trade? You might want to try to fake it till you make it. Try to approach that, adopt that similar mindset. Focus on trading when it's the hottest, when it's the best, and completely leave it alone when it's not worth it. So anyways, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoy the recap. And if you did, those who tune in on YouTube, I hope you hit the thumbs up. And I'll be back at it for the morning show first thing tomorrow morning. Reminder, as always, trading is risky and my results are not typical. And there's no guarantee that you'll find success. So please make sure you take it slow. Whether you're trading with me or you're trading on your own, practice in a simulator. but we'll be here for you, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning. I hope you really enjoyed that video, and make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Our goal is to hit 1 million subscribers this year, but we won't get there without your help. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button.